for the mic if you have any questions to ask Omoele Shore. Or you can also use Shore X, hashtag Shore X, and we'll be able to read out some of the questions on the space if you do not want to come up or if you don't have the chance to come up, to speak. So, as you all know, the title is very clear. We are having a conversation around citizens or slaves revolution now or never. And Comrade Omoele Shore is here with us, and he'll be sharing insights as to his thoughts about the state of the nation. So I would 30 years experience of fighting, for a better Nigeria. And you've been fighting since your student union days. The first question I have for you is, what did you and your fellow comrades at the particular time fighting for Nigeria at a very young age, what did you envision Nigeria would have been by now? And what are your comments on the way Nigeria still is Nigeria worse off than when you were fighting, and what did you envision at that particular time fighting as a young comrade in the University of Lagos?
Well, once again, thank you for having me. I arrived at the University of Lagos in 1989 at the age of 18. And we quickly settled down. But the first day we arrived at university, the first night after we checked into our hostel rooms, there was a blackout. And it was the first time I mobilized people right around us there to go to the gate. And we locked the gate and went to the works department to find out why there was a blackout. Launched Ankara movement on campus, and we started listening to student union leaders during orientation. And I decided there and then that this is an interesting place because I was coming from a background where there's press oppression earlier in life. I was in Ondo State, where I grew up, and there was a police brutality event when I was 9 years old or thereabout. So our goal then was that, well, in 4 years we'll graduate, we're going to find a job and do something about our individual lives and families. The reason I'm saying so is that I never envisaged that I would be fighting for anything close to this, some 34 or 35. So one of the things I needed to say to you is that life was better during that period compared to now. Because you go to the University of Lagos now, you have the electricity source they call like past my generator, even placed in front of hostels. There's no water anymore. Students no longer enjoy bursary. We practically had free education during that. And what I mean by free education was that our school fees was 45 naira in 1989. That was the entire school fees. If you had accommodation or camp twice. The rest of the years on campus, I didn't pay because
Or I think we have a network glitch. Is that just me or?
yeah. So I maintained the fees. We maintained the fees for those 4 years that we were there, or 5 years or 6 years I was at Union. Like there was no fees increase. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. So what I'm trying to say was that we never thought it would be like that. But very quickly, things started to change because right there in 1989, we had heard about the World Bank and the structural adjustment program packed into campus when the anti-cyber riot happened. And then we did Babangida must go because Babangida wasn't going to hand over power as he had promised, the transition program. And it was in 1992 when we did Babangida must go that I had a raw taste of the brutality of the Nigerian state. And ever since then, one hadn't stopped protesting. But to answer your questions, yes, things were better at that time. It was just a short battle. Maybe by 1993, the military will be gone. For us, and that we just enter into society and work in ways that can make it better in our individual capacities. But that never happened. First, I didn't complete university until some 6 years later. I entered 1989 and didn't graduate until 1995. I was arrested several times. I was stabbed. I was injected with poison. Attempted. Uh, they attempted to poison me. I went through hell in the hands of the university and the school authorities and some non-state actors who figured out that we're going to become a problem to Nigerian society and the oppressive system in the future.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer. So the second question I have for you is, um, what do you think Nigerians are citizens? Do they live as citizens? And what is your ideal interpretation of what a citizen should truly be like?
Well, if this is a question that has answered itself, and that's the theme of this space, right? Uh, is that are we citizens or slaves? Well, I can tell you that I've read a lot about slavery, um, and I can tell you almost practically everything that happens, and that is been forced into jobs that I never wanted to do. I've been kept under conditions that all been kept in. I've been beaten like Kunta Kunti by the Nigerian police. I have been shackled. Maybe the only thing they have never done to me is sell me into indentured slavery. But I guess if you have to leave your country, sometimes under conditions like that too. So we're not citizens because if we're citizens, we have all these rights. Government will have responsibilities. We will be able to enjoy a lot of things that's spelled out uh, clearly. I'm not talking about the domestic laws now, but even the internationally accepted standards of living and respect for the rights of citizens. We will be enjoying that. But because we are slaves, we are treated as if we don't matter, and we are treated as if we don't deserve to live, and we are treated at the mercy of our masters. So the only difference between the global slavery trade and the one that is in Nigeria now
Questions that you may want to chip.
is that are working perfectly. Correct anymore because if you do the exchange rate properly, dollar now is 1,500. Also serve the people, and that is not the way around, other way around, where you have uh, the people perpetually serving those in and out. Start that rebuilding and reconstruction of Nigeria immediately. We are too much in a hurry to make Nigeria work for everybody. I am too much in a hurry. I can't wait for us to be able to live in a country that constantly enhancing of life and existence.
All right. I think that the question, the person who asked that question literally took the question out of my mouth, because that was the question I was going to go to. But before we go conversation a little bit, but I'll ask one simple question. And based on conversations that we hear every day on this Twitter Spaces, and all of these political conversations that go on around.
Of persons, and we need commitment, courage, and we need environment that says revolution will happen next week. But if you look at the ambience right now, almost impossible that in a year, if you're 15 in 2024, Nigeria, where the person in Maiduguri is saying the same thing as this person in Enugu and Badagry, and the person in Lokoja, and the person in Naibawa in Kano. They are all speaking the same language that we're tired of this. We want a different society, and we're willing to make the sacrifices to achieve that. We want to march on our oppressors, and get and recover back our country. This is what we've been talking about, that this is possible. And we're still 5 days or 4 days away from what is intended to be a revolt. and the oppressors are already quaking in their boots. Most of them are one of you who is close to those at the airport. Haven't even reached there yet. The NNPC is advertising that there are jobs, right? This is not something they would typically do. Just a few points to can I join? People in Gombe, people in Maiduguri, who they are planning to scatter the protest. Most of these things are not true. But uh, but also it's not just the ingredients that are important. It's not the machinery that is important. The logistics or the elements or the manpower. Objective conditions for a dissonance in society.
Nigeria I see flying around the timeline every day. So I'm just going to, comrade. I don't know if you would permit me to take the question in batches, so that we can take 2 or 3 questions, then you reply.
Not a
Okay,
problem.
all right, perfect. So let's hear from Fazia. Go ahead, please. Just go straight ahead to your question, please. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. What if I don't have a question? Can I still speak?
Okay, go ahead. Just keep it at 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the topic revolution now or never. I feel generally I'm so excited. Obviously, I wasn't born and raised in Nigeria, but I am a Nigerian and I identify as one, participate in the protest. But it's the most exciting time for me because I never really understood why Nigerians were so divided. But for the first time in so long, it's just so beautiful, and I'm so excited to see how we're all collectively coming together with one voice and willing to step up and come forward for what we believe we deserve. And I just hope Nigerians can be patient enough and continue to be resilient as we have been all of these years, but resilient in fighting the good fight for a better Nigeria for all of us. So that's what I wanted to say, and I'm just really looking forward to a peaceful protest with all of my fellow Nigerians, and I wish Nigeria the greatest success. So that was all I wanted to say, and I yield the mic. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Fazia. Let's quickly go to Collins. Go ahead with the question, please. Collins, are you there? Okay, if you're not here, let's move to the next person. Okay,
Yeah, sure. I can hear you. Good evening, King Guilty.
good evening. Please go ahead with your question.
Can you hear
Yeah, I
me?
can hear you loud and clear. Go.
Yeah. Uh, Mr. Showuri, thank you so much for all you've done. I really appreciate you. Thanks for leading, always leading the way. You are a leader worthy of emulation. You see, I really don't have much questions, but I just want to give a contribution. My contribution is, I think we are overplaying this thing. See, people are hungry. Even if you are not hungry per se, I'll say you, like me personally. You see, when you gather everybody that keep asking you for help these days, you should know that we are in serious soup. And we really don't need anybody to pioneer this movement. Yes, I respect everyone, the activists and all of that. But once we are really tired, we just have to come out and do what is necessary. We all can see what is going on Twitter and everywhere. Okay, I'm someone of big English, but tonight I'm just going to be very straight and upfront.
Yeah,
You see, we all can see what's going on
Col-
everywhere. You can
Collins,
see.
Collins, can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please. I would like
Yes,
to.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to beg you, because we need to take questions. Is this session is a session for questions? So while I appreciate the fact,
All
yeah,
right.
so that
All
sometimes
right. All
take
right.
up like 4 people.
Okay, so I'll just round up with
Yeah.
this. So with all this propaganda going on with the fact that we announced the date and all of that, that the protest is not going to be as effective as it should be. Do you think this should be given any form of consideration? Because as I speak to you, I can't even wait for the 1st of August. So I don't know what your contribution is towards this and what you think. Maybe we shouldn't have announced it, or if we did, what would have changed if we had not? That's just it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Collins. I'll just take 1 or 2 more questions so that Comrade Shore can answer at the same time. So let's go to Belo Amino. Please go ahead.
Good evening, compatriots. Good evening. Um, My name's Bello Aminu from Sokoto State, the northern Nigeria. I welcome everyone in the forum. I'd like to speak one or two things about this crusade of Athens. If we look at it, we have so many set shortfalls around northern Nigeria, which we have the vast majority of people who are depressed.
Is that from my end? Okay,
Of
Belu,
you.
I think you're breaking up.
Hello, are you with
Yeah,
me?
I'm with you. Go ahead, please.
I would like to place my questions to Comrade
Yeah, go
Showore.
right ahead.
Okay. What are the performance indication of this crusade in the northern Nigeria? Secondly, what are the parameters we are going to use as we have our clerics who are anti protest of this movement? Our Muslim ticket crusaders are on our own on their own try to uh, bring down this movement so that people will not engage in this mega protest of Nigeria. Why I'm saying this, in the northern Nigeria, we have people, majority of us are not connected with this media platform. Hello,
Yeah, we can hear.
should I
Yeah,
proceed?
go. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Please round up your question.
Yeah, the majority of our populace are not connected on this social media of a thing. We are trying all we could to alert them, to inform them, to disseminate information. Most of them are being given negative impression about this movement that the southeast and the south people are trying to engage us so that we will go for what is happening in other countries that witness so many kind of chaos in the media. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. I think we've gotten your question. Yeah.
I think that's let me allow people to contribute. Those are the few questions I'd like to throw. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Belu. I appreciate your question. I'll take one last question, and then Comrade Shore would go for all of them. Um, let's go with Valerie. Valerie, go ahead, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everybody on the space. Thank you, Shori, for helping us to get lawyers to like free the Northerners that were arrested who were mobilizing the end bad governance protest. So thank you so much. But I have a question, and that is, what do you think about people that feel revolution now is such a strong word and might seem like disruption, or the days of rage hashtag? What do you think about people that think we should just stick with making it look like a peaceful protest? And what do you think about people that don't trust in your like views to actually be really standing for we the people and not maybe being influenced by maybe the APC members or other people because they have their stories lying around like that? So what can you do to convince us that you're here for the people and here to stand for us and against every like bad um government in charge right now? So that's my question. Thank you so much for the opportunity and thank you for all you do.
All right. Thank you very much, Valerie. Comrade Shore, please, you can answer.
Yes, thank you very much. Fazia, who spoke eloquently about the unity of purpose that I talked about. Collins, thank you very much. Bello asked directly about what I think any any protest or any plan penetrate the northern part of Nigeria like I've seen now. And I'm saying it because I have first-hand experience. I did my NYC in the north, and one of my frustration in the north in those days was that you couldn't get any messages across to anybody if you're not on BBC or VOA Hausa service. So, but today I have been included in a lot of WhatsApp groups in the north. I'm getting voice notes from northerners, from Sokoto to Gombe. I'm getting information from Taraba. I can't even catch up. And they are also mobilizing not just for the protest, they are mobilizing against the traditional institutions and the clerics who are trying to demobilize this. A lot of the clerics who went and collected money from Abuja 2 weeks ago and gave just one sermon in which they're discouraging people could not continue to do that this last Friday because people were waiting for them in the mosque. So, and this is also going like wildfire through the BBC Hausa service and the VOAs and all of the Hausa services as well, because they are picking not just from whatever we are putting and also sending it to the regular folks who carry transistor radios. But what I want to tell you, I mean, is that the North is no longer the North of transistor radios anymore. The level of information dissemination and even the internet penetration in the North is unbelievable. And we have enough who are conscious about these protests or revolt in the North. And I can tell you is the reason why the federal government is really, really freaking out. Is that for the first time, they have discovered that every Northerner and Southerner on the street is talking about this August 1st revolt and bad governance in Nigeria. So the penetration is high. We're doing very well in the North. And if you do a poll today that is directed at the Northerners, you will also get the same response. And most importantly, my involvement in getting those who were arrested released also got me connected with a lot of Northern activists on the ground. So it's powerful. So I'll go to the question about whether this is Southeast and South South. You expect people to always push out narratives because we are dealing with the political class. And when it comes to political class in Nigeria, I would want to tell you that there's no north or south. They are all bounded by the same thing. They are bounded by the esophagus. These are greedy men and women who just are connected and united by greed and avarice. So you don't expect them to just watch you come and drive them out of their shop right, which is Nigeria. So you should understand why that is happening and you must push up against that. Valerie, I want to go straight to what are the hashtags and if the information, if the kind of statements and hashtag we're using as scaring people. I don't think so. I think that was the same problem we had in 2019. A lot of people didn't understand revolution now. In fact, some of our colleagues who we planned with, when I got arrested, quickly started, moving away from the hashtag revolution now. But I got to them that the reason why the federal government was really worried in 2019 as the Buhari regime was exactly the word revolution. You can't fight your enemy with love words. You can't serenade your enemies or your oppressor with love songs. You have to fight them with whatever is available that is the strongest language possible. You have to shout back at your oppressor. They even attacked me for wearing the country during SARS. We may not have needed to do what we are doing now. We would have moved to the next stage, which is rebuilding and reconstructing and redefining our country among the Committee of Nations as a functioning, democratic, and prosperous nation. But we failed because we were afraid. We allowed people who were afraid to step on the toes of the powerful people to take over the narrative. Oh, we don't want to. You can't go and fight your oppressors by saying, oh, I don't want to offend my oppressors. They have been using the strongest language against you. They have been using the greatest whips on your back. They have been shooting at you. Do those kind of people look like people you can fight just by serenading them or by sending them love notes? No, it's not done. And we should not be under any illusion that we're going to liberate ourselves by, by pampering our oppressors. So that's why we have been consistent in using the language that we have used. A journalist asked me on RT Russia today and said, "Oh, you said it's day of, that this is about anger." And my answer to him shocked the report. I said, if you're not angry, why are you protesting? And she had no answer, or he had no answer for that retort. So there's nothing to worry about. You have been oppressed, you want to fight back, use the strongest possible language. In fact, the Nigerian oppressive class are very lucky that we are like this. In other countries, nobody is going to give you a date. They are not going to speak any language. They're just going to acquire weapons and start fighting until they liberate themselves. We're not doing that. We are employing the most acceptable system of resistance, which is peaceful protest, nonviolent action, direct action. This is the most acceptable, this is the most civilized in the world. So we don't have to do any other thing but to keep marching until we win. So that's I would describe to you as what goes with the territory of what we do. People always second guess even the most honest persons. They will tell you, oh, there's always somebody who tells a story about you that is not true, with the hope of convincing others that, oh, you cannot be trusted to lead them to. But I'm not trying to be your leader. I'm asking all of you to lead yourselves to freedom. So if you can trust yourselves, we are good to go. That's all. So I'm not constituting a negotiation team to go and meet with APC. So you don't have to trust me. The only thing you need to trust is your conviction, is your ability and agility to carry this through and get yourself and get your oppressors to be out of your way. You don't need me to be trusted. But the reason why I'm talking to all of you is because I trust your capacity to also be able to understand that a lot of this is thrown around. But guess what? If I was who anybody claimed I was when I was arrested in 2019, do you think they will not put out the information about how I'm working with them? Because there was nothing like that. But there's no position you take in Nigeria that somebody doesn't oppose you and oppose you to the point that they don't want it to work, because we live in a country where people who don't want to do anything don't also want anybody who is serious to do it. And I've experienced this in my last 35 years. That's why you see I don't get upset. My history out there that anybody can look at and know that I don't really, really have anywhere where I worship people at night or during the day. I don't have any hidden relationships with those in power. I have never been a contractor to any government. I don't have power. As I've said repeatedly, I've never entered Aso Rock before in my life. I've never been to a government house or governor's office in my entire life, and I'm 54 years old. I have met some of them by accident. Sometimes when you can't avoid it. I've sat next to Tinubu before during the presidential election. I sat next to Peter Obi during the election. I've sat next to Atiku sometimes. So that leader, I'm leading my own conviction to battle and to win with you in this struggle for total.
Lots of requests. Just use the hashtag ShoworeX, and we'll make sure that each of those questions is read out or answered. Um, One question I quickly want to ask before we go back to our speakers or people who want to ask questions is there's this popular and this conversation is centered around X, things that we see flying, political narratives we see flying around X. There's this popular narrative that some people, some characters try to peddle out that um, when a protest is going to be a real protest, will not have a date. Because I think someone even asked a question like that, and it reminded me of that question. They keep on, trying to
Without a date. No, I think what they're saying is that maybe time in mind because you're going to wake up that morning and say, I'm going to organize it. We'll organize logistics. We'll tell people where to meet. So I don't understand how people say a protest should not have a date. And at any rate, it is usually also driven by fear that the group of people we are protesting against will somehow be able to have, advanced knowledge and sabotage the protest. But if you are determined, you will go ahead and do it. I have done several protests in my life, and go and protest individually. So every good protest, every good revolt requires planning. The French Revolution was planned for 10. So it's very important that we don't waste too much of our time reacting to uh, protests that don't have dates. Protests do have dates. The difference is that some protests, the dates may not be announced by the planners, but there's no protest that are for the conditions. Protest
in 2016.
Of demising the replacement of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution. To
with the federal government. So over to you, Comrade Shore.
Oh, thank you so much. What grounds? So what you are saying, just quickly to respond to you, the military is going to engage in what is known in security circles as psyops, psychological operations. They are trying to deceive you to believe that they have the capacity to come out in large numbers. Because even the military, that it will shock you that if this protest succeeds very well, some military guys will join you in uniform. You'll be shocked because there's a top hierarchy of the military that is part of the corrupt elites in the country who are making money. They're going to order people to go around and try to harass civilians. But I've also spoken to a lot of young military guys who are the ones carrying the burden of the Nigerian military. They are the ones who are getting paid 56,000 naira monthly basis. They are the ones who get their allowances embezzled by their commanders. They are tired of this situation. They have come to the realization that over the years they have been used to suppress what could also have brought about their own development. So I am not worried about the military coming at all. That was why I kept saying that if NSAS had the right strategy, the day after the military shot, in fact, that night the military shot, we could have continued the protest the next day and the military would have run away. They were already on the defensive. I'm telling you, they would have been overwhelmed and they would have taken. In fact, Buhari did say it that the military told him that if we don't do something about these NSAS guys, they are going to enter into your bedroom in Aso Rock. That was what Buhari said on TV. They were they understood the power of the masses. So there's another person from Bauchi. We have a few coordinators in Bauchi. Protests will happen everywhere. The state governments who are making declarations that there won't be protests are also afraid that protesters are going to question because this is a protest that is targeting the entire governance infrastructure in the country. That's why it's called end bad governance. So everywhere there's end bad governance, which I'm sure there's a lot of it in Bauchi, it will happen. And maybe you can DM me. I can put you in touch with one of the people who is going to be there. In some cities, we have more than one coordinator. And if there's anybody here as well who wants to join in Bauchi, you can also DM me. My DM is open. I also want to say something about the military thing I was saying earlier. That please, there are people who are here with us in this space right now who are military guys. There are people who are here with us who are DSS guys. There are people who are police informants. So they are listening to us, and I want to let them know that we are ready. But there are also people in all these forces who are here with us who are truly with us and they are going to support in whatever way they can. Some of them have reached out and said if there's any protest and if they won't allow their colleagues to shoot at anybody, and if somebody tries to be stupid, they will prevent them if it will cost them their lives. Because they've all come to understand that Nigeria's problem and their own problems boils down to bad governance. And the people who are driving the bad governance situation in the country, they know them. They're their bosses. And they are the ones that they ask them to go and protect. You must have seen today a police memo saying that they are withdrawing all the security attachments to big men across the country. Well, that's going to drive uh, more of them to flee the country in the next few days. But it's also part of psychological operations of like, oh, we're gonna have more men on the street. But don't be afraid. What we should focus on, focus, is to keep mobilizing more people and get enough people to be on the streets. We should be having millions of people on the streets. And the moment they step out of their houses and they are going towards city center or the protest grounds, before you know it, we will be naming some of these monuments in the country Freedom Square. Uh, I don't seem to get the last question again. I know there's a last question that came. Can you remind me, please?
Yes, someone was asking at what point or on what grounds
Oh, the
yeah,
yes,
with
the point about
dialogue again with
when we will have dialogue.
mhm.
I'm not in a position to say that. We are democratizing the participation and the mobilization now. It would be wrong for anyone, including myself, to start putting up conditions for dialogue when we have not even started the protest. If there's going to be dialogue, we will look at the demands, we will look at the issues, we will determine, we will drive what will become the dialogue, because otherwise you will end up with some of the mistakes the Kenyans are making, which they are rectifying now. They fought up to a point, they have achieved significant victory. And then you go and bring Obasanjo to the country. And who brought Obasanjo to the country? The same politicians who are part of the old system who lost out. They are now trying to create a government of national unity, midwife by Obasanjo. Before you know it, all the people they have chased out of power will end up in power again. And when they come back again, they will be more ruthless. So I am not engaging in any speculation about dialogue. Nami.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, my co-host, I would like you to get more questions ready from the hashtag because a lot of people will not be able to come up. But let me just ask one direct question, taking us back to the conversation about a revolution. And um, there's this narrative that has been peddled by certain individuals, who have said that they believe in a revolution. They believe that Nigeria needs a revolution, but that the problem is that um you think that if a revolution is to happen in Nigeria, it must come through you. So I want to, I don't know what you think about this particular statements that people make, that you feel like, if there's going to be a revolution, it has to come through you. You have to be the vehicle for the revolution.
If you go to my Twitter timeline today, I posted a video which was an interview I had with Arise TV on May 8th, which is prophetic that a revolution is inevitable. And I've always known that. And I said it either it happens with me or without me. I have no desire to be named or to have anything named after me or to be named as the leader of the revolution or I will be glad to be the sweeper of wherever we do the revolution the day after. I'll be the happiest person. But I cannot deny that I have the desire for total freedom, total liberation, that I want to drive the change that will liberate Nigerians from oppression, mismanagement, and those incapacitated leaders to be relieved not only of being in power or being in office, but to be saved for themselves. Because a lot of them also need the revolution to free them from the shackles of, their own oppression. A lot of them are living in their own prisons too. So this information that anybody is saying, I have never said that revolution should come from me, but I've always been an advocate of revolution, and I've never denied that.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification. We're going to go back to our speakers to take two questions, and then we'll take two questions from the hashtag. Don't forget the hashtag, hashtag Shore X. Just put your question and we'll make sure that every single question is answered. So let's quickly go to Hetty Dre to ask a question. Then we'll go to Velele and we'll go to Energy. So Hetty Dre, please go ahead. Please go straight to the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Good evening, Comrade Show. My simple question is, as usual with all these kind of protests, we'll have opportunists
Yes.
hanging around. You will have wolves
Yeah.
in sheep clothing hanging around the protests so that they can harvest the anger of the people for their own private gain. How do we plan
Yes.
on pushing these kind of people away from the protests? Thank God we have people like Sega that have already shown where they stand in this case. But there are many other Segas that are hanging around? How do we push them out of the way? Thank you.
All right, let's go to Velele. Go ahead, please. Velele, are you there? Okay, so since it's not here, we'll move to the next person. Energy has dropped off, so we'll go to, I think Florence has been the
Yeah.
person. Yeah, Florence, go ahead, please.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I also want to thank all Nigerians for coming together for this, putting their differences aside. My question is, apart from the hoodlums we know that they sponsor to hijack protests, and apart from propaganda or arresting protesters, what other reaction are we to expect from the ruling class slash politicians? Thank you.
All right. Co-host, please, you can you take some questions from the hashtag so that or one or two questions so that Omolara, average Nigerian.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, please go ahead with one or two questions.
All right, thank you. So someone said, is the protest aimed to remove the president or to force him and his team to do the right thing and rule democratically?
Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, and
One,
there's one
Yeah,
last short
yeah.
one that says, what top three advice would you give to ensure the protest is safe?
All right, comrade. Yeah.
Yes. The first question is opportunists hanging around. I don't necessarily want to generally just also educate some of them because opportunism sometimes is couched in different ways, and opportunism could also be seen. Infiltration sometimes can also be seen as opportunism. There are some people that are frequently mentioned. I don't think they're opportunists. I think they are sent to infiltrate, and people have figured them out. But I'm also happy that there's a higher level of consciousness there these days amongst a lot of people that we have been relating with. That I would describe as if I think a lot of people now have what I call rubbish detectors. They have those antennas in their system, and when you ask them, when we talk with five people, three will say, "Look, let's be careful about these guys." So, but I don't have an instruction manual to give right away on how to detect an opportunist. But I can tell you that there's opportunism, there's infiltration, and there's also ignorance and foolishness. So you have to categorically determine and decide where people fall into so that you know those who need therapy and those who might need to be fished out and those who might need to be dealt with a different way. But none of this should include violence or attack on anybody so that you don't, in the course of doing this struggle, also earn enemies that you regret. Not enemies, but even people that you handle differently and you regret that you dealt with them differently. I I met with Jerry Rawlings uh, a few times before he died, the Ghanaian leader who everybody knows killed all the politicians. And he said to me that if there's anything he regretted, is killing some of the people he killed because he found out later that he's responsible for raising their families. So that's one. Second, the hoodlums and what else to read from the ruling class. I think one of the things to worry about from the ruling class is that the way they pizza to the protest, and some people will just forget that we're fighting against them. You remember the story of police giving people biscuits in Lagos. So let's stay away from things like that. Don't fall for food or uh, compliments that you haven't uh, been, that's not part of your plan. They might show up. Don't be surprised. Some of them might show up, and they'll show up, and people will get carried away. They can show up. They know Nigerians. They understand how Nigerians react, and that's the reason why, for some reason, I kind of like the fact that this protest is the way it is starting out, or the revolt, as I like to call it, it's starting out as a leveler. So we don't have any celebrities that's, it's God to anybody. It's starting out as a leveler. We don't even have imams. We don't have pastors or geos to whom we have any kind of emotional attachment or allegiance. And those things are very, very important. But for the hoodlums, you can expect them early in the game. But I know the mentality of hoodlums. If they see crowds, plenty of crowds, they usually typically fizzle out, and they just melt into the crowd. And in most cases, they will join you. But those would be early in the game, and hoodlums will attack you because hoodlums are also very psychological, and they also don't want to die because they came in NSAS in Abuja. I remember there was a group of hoodlums that were brought in from Kaduna, and they underestimated the NSAS protesters. They forgot that some of those NSAS protesters are actually black belters from Taekwondo. And when one of them was dealt with in a way that he never expected, they never came back again. The same thing.
Okay, I think Comrade has a call. Um,
And thought that they could kill people with machete. And when they discovered that these guys are different, they're different kind of revolutionary hoodlums themselves. They all left. That is the reason why the government went and recruited their own hoodlums, the Nigerian soldiers that came from Bonny Camp to shoot at people at toll gate. So I would be more worried about honeypots. That is, and this happens globally too. When you go to protest as well, be very careful. I know in New York during Occupy, there was a there was a whole trap that was set against people where they were camping out, and before you knew it, detectives were having amorous relationships with protesters, and people were getting charged with rape and sexual because the side of the nations that you haven't seen or leadership you haven't seen comes to protests of this nature. Sometimes is the action of the president that determine whether he gets removed after protest or not. So if the president, but what I know is that the 15 demands that I'm just saying that. And what's the top three advice? I don't have a top three advice, but I'll say, mobilization, consciousness, sensitivity. If you're around and organizing this protest around this time, don't be alone. Always be with somebody, especially if you are known to be active. An organizer or someone who talks about it a lot. I also want to advise that if you are using some vulnerable apps like WhatsApp, maybe there's a time to go to Signal or Telegram and use those apps efficiently. Having conversations that uh, might delete immediately after they are, using encrypted platforms to have conversations. I don't have to worry about that because there's nothing I say in public that I say in private that I can say in public. So, but some of you who are making connections and communications within Nigeria at this time, you might want to consider other platforms for communication or using maybe Twitter DMs, and if you're using WhatsApp, you want to have like what's that thing you put on WhatsApp where you have a second level of authentication, so that because they're going to try to hack a lot of groups. Most of you know about that trick they use in WhatsApp where they'll call you and say we're sending you a code. Please, if anybody calls you and say we have a meeting, take a code, don't accept it. So, but any information that you send to people that you can't defend, that may just delete it immediately. So that's that. Those are some of the things I have, and also want to advise that before we continue, I have
Sure. Someone just notified me that you forgot to answer Dr. Oates' question about the Constitution being front and center for the protest. The protest.
That's right. I apologize, Dr. Oat, for that. Yes, but you see, if we were to think about what should be number one, a lot of things will be. There are people who have questioned why is it not insecurity at first, Some people ask and ask what is the best of constitution as number one. And maybe when we get to the barricade, that might change by popular opinion.
Take everyone. So we're advising that people use the as soon as as soon as possible. So let's answer. So let's take Flag Boy. Flag Boy, go ahead, please.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Comrade Shore. I'm not here to ask you questions. I just want to tell you thank you that you're somebody I appreciate. So, like young Nigerians.
On these following points. The first one is, do you feel that we as a collective, regardless, are ready to change Nigeria for the better? And why? As one. And then two, on the day, the 1st of August, when this thing kicks off, my only concern is that the military are not that, I wouldn't say intelligent, I would say they are not completely capable, morally capable of delivering the kind of.
Sure, do you want to take the question?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let me thank Energy for his question. So the issue of the Day of Rage, I just want to take people back some 5 years ago. That was our hashtag when we were doing Revolution Now. That's at TIB. Idea of describing the intensity of how we feel about oppression. Everybody who has some physical attacks on me came from the military. I've never attacked anybody before. I've never beaten up. I've never, even when I was in university, we would protest. You can't cut a single leaf on campus. If we are going to take leaves to protect the urgency of now, so that people can get it. It has no Lekki toll gate that I heard by the police and so many of his paraphernalia. It's just trying to get them back. I just want to give you a very powerful shout out for igniting a fight, risking everything you have. He has a business in Abuja. He's been under siege, but he has not stopped, even after he was arrested and released by the police. And there was a brother who was asking about counsel. How do you feel if the military behaves, you know, differently, who are armed to the teeth, and challenge them and break free from their cordons? So I'm not saying that we should have confrontations, but we must be able to stand our ground, especially you ask if they'll first of all go to the Caribbean.
The president or force him to do the right thing.
I think I answered that. I think I answered that second one
Oh, okay.
already,
I mean,
if I recall. Yeah, yes. But the one about demand us right now, or that would feel are important to us. So since this is a protest that's going to go on for several days, I think the harmonization, the curation of demands, and the decision to change some of these demands based on popular opinion are not out of the question. But these are the demands that we came up with. It's 15 demands from our end. And we've seen some other demands floating around, and nobody is criticizing those demands. But there has to be a point where we can kids.
All right. So I've just been informed we have just
I have, and if need be, we could always come back again before the D date, or or we could use this as our own situation room as well to check in on ourselves.
that was going to be my final question to you if you were willing to or clarifying that. So let's just have a couple of questions within the time frame that you're still here. Co-host, do you have any questions on the
So, please, what do you
Omola,
recommend on the session versus primary?
I think you're having a glitch.
And when we contacted them, this culture of xenophobia that is practiced by the Lagos state government under the directive of Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria. They are special advisor, a bunch of advisors on xenophobia, and their job is to malign known Yorubas or to use Yoruba as a basis to malign others or to scare them and to use it as a campaign to suppress people. And by the way, some of the people they use are also Igbos who will say, oh, I'm Igbo and I'm doing well in Lagos. I don't want anybody to protest. They have those kind of Igbos too. So what I'm saying is that this is just a bunch of bad people. And it's important that we focus on them. We cannot be fighting xenophobia in South Africa and not be able to fight it in Lagos. So please don't generalize this. They have even said, in the course of doing it, in the course of this protest, they have been campaigning that my name is not Yoruba, that I'm not Yoruba. And that's the reason why I want to burn down Lagos, because I'm not a Yoruba. But I'm not trying to claim to be a Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo. I'm a human being. It's more important to me that I'm human. And some of you might say, well, that is probably not, you have an identity crisis. No, I don't have an identity crisis. I know where I come from and I know who I am. And that's what is most important. That's the reason why I am never part of any of these ethnic organizations. And we've been proven right. Some few years ago, the blackmail was all over the place. Yoruba Nation, they were fighting me. Why have you two joined us? So many of the people who were doing Yoruba Nation are now silent. If you are saying that you want Yoruba Nation, and when your brother becomes president, you forget that you need a Yoruba Nation, then you never wanted Yoruba Nation. You never wanted Yoruba Nation at all. So, but guess what? Most of the Yoruba Nation activists they rented a whole plane from Lagos and Ibadan to come to Tinubu's inauguration. So the strategy all along has been to just get the Yoruba man to be in Aso Rock for some of them, but not all Yorubas. Please, we should not generalize. That's my submission. I yield.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Shore. Okay, let's have a couple of more questions from the speaker section. Please, we are running out of time. So,
Oh, sorry, quickly, I wanted to answer the oral
oh, yeah,
question.
go
Please, let's disabuse your mind. There's no, they don't plan any oral. There's no oral plans. That was actually invented by the Lagos State the Lagos State propaganda people too. We've done our research after they said they are going to have oral. All the oral people that we know have denied that they never said they plan to have any oral in Lagos. They never planned to have any oral. This was just initially designed as part of the propaganda to scare people. Because if you look at the history of oral, it's a chauvinistic way of shoving women aside because men who do it are always naked. But it's also cultural. So I'm not ignoring the cultural relevance of it. But since I was born, I've never seen oral that is done for 15 days. It's usually done at night by men. So if there's even going to be oral, well, men will be able to protest because it's for men. But I'm not going to support a system in which you have a cultural system that is so chauvinistic that they scare women. I have a belief that they're scared that women will be the leaders of this revolt. So that oral thing was just to make them start feeling, oh, we can't go out. Please forget it. What I'm saying is that we've checked everywhere. There's no plan, there's no timetable for oral in Lagos. And even if there was going to be, orals are very geo-located because they have territories. You cannot carry your oral to go to another territory of another oral. And most of you know that I have masquerade too that I took to court in Abuja, so I know how they operate. That's on the lighter side.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Comrade Shore. I'll just we'll just take four questions. So we'll go with the, please, if you like to speak, please put your hands up. We'll go with the hands that are up. So we'll go with King of South. Arewachik has been here for the longest, so please just go straight ahead to your questions so we can utilize the remaining 17 minutes we have. And we also,
All right.
yeah,
Thank
sorry,
you.
hold on,
Thank
sorry,
you
let me
very
just
much.
take the cue. So we'll go with,
Uh,
sorry, hold on. King, you can go ahead, King, and after you, Arawachik will go, and then we'll have Velo. Please go ahead. Please, straight to the question.
all right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So my question goes to Mr. Sowore, and I'm happy that I have this privilege to ask you this question because going, I like to hold on to history. So just answer me yes or no. Before 2015, were you, did you or did you not campaign for Buhari to come to become the president of Nigeria in 2015?
All right. Thank you very much for your question, Arawachik.
No, I have the second
No, no,
question,
sorry,
and if
hold on, please hold on. Because of, for the
okay,
sake of other people, you can use the hashtag Showore X to ask the question.
please,
So
the questions are joined together. Let me.
so,
It's
sorry,
very short.
hold on, sorry, I have to be very fair to people, please. We have lots of people who want to make use of this time, so just one question. Showore will answer the question. Please use the hashtag, please, thank you. Arawachi, please go ahead. Arawachi, are you there? Sorry, can I mute your mic, Arawachi?
It might be a. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Okay. I was trying to unmute for some.
I think it's a glitch. Sorry, please just hold on for a second. Can you unmute your mic now?
Okay. Yes, I think I'm audible right now. All right. Good evening, everyone. My question is a very direct one, and um, for sure, being a politician, my question.
All
Every
right.
other ones I
Yeah.
have had have been answered. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Arawachik. Please let's go to Velo. Please just keep it straight to your question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So, thank you so much for coming to speak to us. I actually have two requests, and I've put those requests in the comment section with hashtag SolarX, right? But then I have a question. So my question is this, please, could you very clearly and directly tell us, if the Nigerian government has established any back channel conversation with you since this talk about the protest started? Now, this is actually coming from the countless rumors we've seen flying around online, right? Again, let me just reiterate. Has the Nigerian government at any point in time, right, since this protest discussion started, established any back channel conversation with you since the talk started? And like I mentioned, please, I have requests that I've put in the comment section that I think it will be very good for you to do so that the Nigerian government does not use you as a tool, right, directly or indirectly. Please, question and then request in the comment section. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's take one more question. One more question. So I think Shegun Olo, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. The first question I have two actually. Number one is I want to ask Mr. Shore because I understand he's been doing this for over 3 decades now, and I understand that the first time they tried to do this, they chased out the military, but we learned according to Shehu Sonny also recently that there was a vacuum. The vacuum was created by most of the comrades who did the fight didn't stay back to occupy the vacuum. So now that we're about to have another national mobilization for protest, if in the event that these people chicken out, like the song by Bob Marley, Jesus Crazy About It at a time, what if they leave? Is there a plan to fill the vacuum this time so that we don't have vacuum again? The second question is that Mr. Shori has been alleged.
You already asked. You already asked one question, and we didn't allow the other person to ask the question, so it will not be. Yeah. So please, I'll beg if you can
Okay.
use the hashtag for the sake of fairness, please. Commissioner, do you want to answer the question?
Yes. So the first question came from the guy who asked, and I repeat the question: did you campaign for Buhari before 2014? Did I ever campaign for Buhari or any politician before 2014, 2015, or after 2015. He said he wanted to find out the question, I mean, the answer if it's yes or no. Capital no. Second question is that as a politician, would it be right for you to be at the forefront of this particular because uh, they would think that you're a politician? Well, I'm not trying to be at the forefront of this struggle. I'm a participant. Even though I have repeatedly said that I do not see myself as a politician as in the natural way or general way that you describe politicians, I've always been a conscientious objector to bad governance my entire life. Now, 35 years of doing this. I'm not trying to be at the forefront. I'm trying to join hands with you to make Nigeria a better place in the way that I've done it clean and clear. Number three question said, have you had back channels with government? No, I do not do back channel business. I don't do deals with government, and I've said this repeatedly. And those in government, the biggest problem they have with me is that you can't talk to me. I don't have conversations with government people on how to do so. I don't have anything to gain from it. I don't engage in it. I do not work with government. So that's important. No back channels. Nobody has contacted me. And because they can't contact me, they have, of course, engaged in propaganda to discredit me, but that's expected at this time. Oh Lord, you said vacuum created when we left. It's true. There was a mistake we made in 1999 after we chased out the military. All of us left. There was a meeting we had at Chief Gani Farm in Miss Chambers, and we said the military cannot be trusted. We have to be vanguards of society, still stay around, fight them. We're not even sure if they're going to have an election. And they had an election, and they brought back their own people through the back door. That's how Obasanjo became president. I left too. I left in 1999 to the US because I knew the election had been determined by the military establishment, the military industrial complex in Nigeria, through Babangida, Abdul Salam, and the rest of them. And by the time our people realized that it was a mistake and tried to come back in 2003, for those of you who may not know, Femi Falana contested as the governor in the Ekiti state. He lost in 2003. Gani Fawemi contested as president of Nigeria in 2003, and he lost. I think it was a mistake on our part, and this time around, this protest should not leave us in a situation where we're out whether we want power or not. If we believe in fixing the country, we should be able to trust ourselves to take power and fix our own country. You know what? If you don't, somebody else or a group of people will take the gains and go and put it in the bags of one politician that they favor. Even if the politician is opposed to this, they will go and sell it to him. So don't be shy to make sure that.
Okay, I think it's. Can anybody still? Is it just me, or do we have a glitch?
No, he's not audible at the moment.
Okay, so I think while we try to get him back, we can take one or two questions so he can answer when he gets back. I think we still have about 10 minutes. Commercial work, can you hear me? Okay, so I think he has a network issue and he has dropped off, but I'm sure, very sure he'll be right back. So do we just take next couple of questions, just maybe one or two more questions, because we can't take. I've been informed that he has to leave by 9 p.m. on the dot. So if I make okay, yeah, he's back. All right, so we'll take
I
we'll
think
hear
we
from
have
yeah,
minutes and take a maybe
yeah,
more.
yeah. So we'll hear from Akin Tolgate and yeah, Comrade, you're back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, all right. So we lost you for a bit, but
Again, Pali Trailblazer program Nigerians to understand that whenever they hear protest, it's enshrined in constitution for people to be able to again, you know, come out and express themselves. One. Secondly, I tweeted something earlier, just again, not criticizing, but offering a different perspective. The Day of Rage, I like how you provided some historical context. A lot of people didn't have that. I think communications is key. So it's probably good that you put out another tweet so people don't think or assume it just emerged, because there's an attempt to color this protest as violent to again turn public, opinion against any kind of action. And then lastly, I think there just needs to be alignment. And when I mean alignment, I don't mean people going to a room, coming up with a group or committee, but I think there needs to be the need to speak from a unified front, because what these politicians like is division. They love a divided house because there they can sneak in agendas and always use the back door to introduce elements that then come in and wreak havoc, and they will then blame hijackers. Nobody ever hijacks. It's always state sponsored, and I'll say that on the microphone because it's the experience I have. So anyway, just feedback to you, but then equally, how do you hope to build a bigger tent and encourage Nigerians to understand that protest is a fundamental right as opposed to things that they should be scared of? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's hear from engineer Khalid. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to each and every one of us. Comrade, good afternoon.
Thank you,
I've
engineer.
had so many
Welcome
sub.
back from detention.
Yeah, thank you so much. It has not been easy, but if anything, it's giving us more courage and it's putting more grease to our elbows that what we are trying to do is actually what we need in this country. And so help us God, we are pushing through with this. They can intimidate or try what in whatever way they can to clap us down, but they are not going to succeed. Nigeria will be victorious at the end, inshallah. So I just want to add to what you've earlier said, to some questions that were asked. I think someone asked, I've been getting DMs, and someone actually asked about coordinators in Bauchi State. So I want to tell us all, we just need to know in the capacity you want to come in, if you want to be part of the coordinating team or you just want to participate as a citizen, to also voice out your frustration. We all have that. If it's in the capacity of just protesting, there is also a way we share information on that. So do well across the states. I think that's what I just want to chip in. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Diplosoft, please go ahead with your question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Drotimi. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Comrade Showere, good evening to you. Once again, we appreciate this that you are doing for waking Nigerians up like you have been doing. So, quick one. My question is, I just wanted to just give a word to those who are in the habit. You carry this kind of passion. Is how you have seen citizens being treated in other countries as to what we are being treated with in Nigeria as slaves. So what do you have for them? You have been around for a while. You have a whole lot of history that you have seen. And you have, what do you have to say to those set of people? Some for their personal selfish interest, some will just sit abroad and keep sending words and gaslighting people at home. Some are even in Nigeria and they are trying to demoralize people from protesting, from demanding what is right. And they see some of the things that we ask as being outrageous. This space they are listening so that they can hear, at least for record purpose, that no, at a point in time, who said this. So thank you very much. That's what I want to say.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
Diplosoft. Commissioner, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Akin, it's good to hear your voice again. It's been a while. And you said that Nigerians are programmed to be anti-protest. I don't actually think it's very true. Nigeria actually has a rich history of protesting since the days of, you know, slavery. Um, Nigerians, some of the Nigerians in Akasa, led by King Jaja of Opobo, were the first to protest against colonial invasions and the rabid nature of the slave traders. Of course, they were banished. I've heard about Oba in Benin, who fought against the white man. Had he succeeded, Benin was said to be better than Amsterdam when they came. And they came and looted the place because they wanted to destroy the growth of the black man. You heard about as recently as 1929, the Aba women riots. There's a guy named a labor leader, I think Pai Modu. He's later, who became a prominent labor leader. And so the culture of protest has always been around. Of course, over time when you had the military come into power, especially after the Civil War, military power or military culture was introduced into Nigeria and putting down protests in the most ruthless manner. What will interest you is that the way the military guys and police treat Nigerian citizens during protests, even the white people during colonial era were afraid to do that. But now our brothers and sisters carrying weapons just maul us down, even when we are armless and defenseless. So it is where the fear came from, and also psychological. Nigerians, Nigerians are programmed to be docile because they have deployed a lot of tools that there's nothing that will make anybody docile that has not been done to Nigerians. Hunger, starvation, everything has been weaponized. And if you put that, and I'm saying this, and I don't want to sound controversial, if you put that firmly in the context of how religion then flourished in Nigeria, you will understand the recipe for disaster of the citizenry you have. People who constantly believe that God is going to come and construct their road, or that you can pray for transformer to bring light when the NEPA station is right around the corner, or that you can pray for the governor who is stealing your money anytime he's around. You abandon the scriptures. And I went to my hometown. This one was even recent. My stepmom died. And service was going on, we're almost ending. The governor of the state enters the church. The pastor or whomever was the preacher started the program all over again because of the governor. And why? He's God to them. Of course, it's because of money. So, but what I'm happy about, okay, is that a lot of Nigerians are becoming very conscious about all this deception too. And so there's a higher consciousness around the emotional attachment to things that are false or giving false hope. So, and I think the social media is helping a lot in destroying some of the myths about religion and things that make people docile. And it's part of why we are here today, why we're able to mobilize. I think we have over 2,000 people here. All of us who are on just these 2,000 people that we are here, if we commit to come out, I'm telling you, it's over for these guys. If all of us, 2,000, can mobilize 200 people, you do the maths. If the 2,200 people mobilized by the 2,000 people have another 200,000 join them, by 12 noon, that revolution that you are looking for is done. So it's not about Nigeria. And I can also mention Days of Rage. I've explained that there's nothing new about it. A hashtag to push back against the oppressor. There's no reason to be using niceties when you are fighting against people who shoot you at protests. And how can you know this? You were at the toll gate, and you know the history of what the soldiers did there. So if you experience that and you're still looking for hashtags that makes them feel cool, I'm sorry, I don't know if I agree with that. Alignment, I agree with you that we should have alignment, but this has also brought together natural alignments. One of the things that I'm happy about where we are today is that so a lot of people also have gone through the cycles. Some of us have gone through, not me, but a lot of us have gone through 360 degrees of just roaming around, hoping for better alternatives, looking for political alignments that could deliver what. And at this point, our illusions have been cleared. The illusion about elections bringing the best has been cleared, except if we are firmly in control of the electoral process. The illusion about is an economic system that is driven by some foreign economic policy has been clear. The illusion of religion that somehow if two Muslims are president and vice president, prosperity will come to your region has been cleared. So a lot of illusions and myths have been destroyed. So we're in a good place to have natural alignment. But we're open. Akin, you know this about me. I've always been open about alignment. What I don't do is that I don't do alignments that would also lead to my own disalignment. So if you are looking at an alignment, in this conversation we are having, that will put me in Tinubu's office before the protest. I am misaligned with you. My own alignment at this point is to get us to the barricades, fight our battles until we win. So anybody who wants to align with that, I'm the person. And and I will say that in aligning with people, I do question intentions. I do check how people background themselves. I do look at people's history, so that I don't fall into the hands of scammers as well, or opportunists or infiltrators. So those ones are very clear about how I align. So sometimes when I ask hard questions or I act hard, uh, don't be surprised. It's because in aligning with people, I want to be sure that I'm in relationship that will not turn to be abusive pretty soon. And Kali, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're out and you're still strong. I love what you said about coordinators from everywhere. I think at this point, if anybody wants to coordinate. No, we should not. That nobody is going to bring a hierarchical organogram into this. That oh, you are the coordinator. Because the moment you start having coordinators that are named and well known, some coordinators will start feeling that they have chieftaincy titles. And before you know it, they'll think it's a status that can also be sold. And just as we are watching the system is also watching us. And there are so many. I've met so many people recently who come to my DM on Facebook or Instagram. Oh, I'm a coordinator. I have 2,000 people to give you. Run. Anybody that tells you they have 2,000 or they have 400 local governments where they can provide protesters, run away from them. You know, I run away from a lot of young people also who call themselves ambassadors in Abuja or elsewhere. They are usually affiliates of these old system people, and if you not careful with them, they will just drive into a box that you never expected. But I'm more interested in people who are realistic about numbers. 10, 15, 20 people. If we have 2,000 people who can provide 20 people, who are not, and also a lot of them will submit budgets, ridiculous budgets. So, come and give us 5 million naira to mobilize. Run away from those people. We don't need people submitting budgets. We should be able to fund this ourselves. And when we get to the barricades, I know a lot of Nigerians will also come up and help with the little they can. I've had somebody who has already set up a fund to support people who might not be able to go out during the protest in their own neighborhood. They are not affiliated with us. I'm not accepting funds from anybody. I'm spending my own money and contributions from people of like minds. And you can do the same, but also make sure that if somebody is offering you money, you know why and who the person is, because it's going to end up as a blackmail against you very soon if you fall for it and you can't account for it, because there's a lot of money flowing around to sabotage this as well. Diplo habit of Nigerians abroad. I There's something I've realized in staying abroad for 20 years or more. You see, if people have no consciousness at home, don't expect them to get it abroad at all. So if someone was an APC rabid person at home, the likelihood that he will become a Che Guevara when he gets to America is very slim. If a person has terrible habits supporting evil at home, when they get to America, they will support the evil back home, even when they themselves are enjoying the fruits of good governance. That is one of the ways I've seen it. But there are also those who just are hanging around from the diaspora who can't wait to become the oppressor that you are fighting against. So I would just say, uh, don't worry about those. Let's work with those who are with us, and there's plenty of those people, And to our northern brothers, I love the word zanga zanga, uh, and the one that's my favorite is zanga zanga babu fashi, which is no going back. I yield.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner. And the conversation has come to an end because Commissioner will need to take his leave right now, and I would love to make sure that people can replay this space and learn from all of the thoughts that have been put out here. So thank you very much, Commissioner, for honoring this invitation, and we hope, like you've promised, that you'd engage in more conversations with us on these spaces. Yeah.
And Drew, to me, so
Thank you so much for having me. Please, if there's anyone who's a lawyer who want to volunteer to give people legal services, there's anyone who's a doctor, people who have advice, people who have capacity to help on their own or to mobilize their own neighborhoods, please keep doing it. But for the lawyers and doctors, if there's a way you can reach out to Drew, to me, or myself, or even I can you can help with that as well. Just send them their way so that if anybody's arrested, we don't let One of the things I learned about getting arrested by the DSS is the longer they stay in the system, the likelihood it is that they might get missing in the system. We don't want any dadiatas anymore. Dadiata, by the way, was a guy who was arrested, I think, in Kaduna. The same day I was arrested in 2019, and we have never heard back from him since then. So I'll say, Aluta continua, Victoria Asata, Revolution now.
Now.
Now,
Have a good evening. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining the space. We'll do this some other time. And when we have another space, we'll make such announcements. I'm going to be ending this space so the conversation can end here. But some people have advised we put up another one. We may do that just to have a review of the conversation and maybe take more questions that could be answered at a later time. Thank you very much, everyone. Omolola Pedro, thank you very much for co hosting. Average Nigerian, Prince, Africanoid, Diplosoft, Akin Tollgate, Engineer Khalid, every single person on the space. I can't read out everybody's name, but thank you very much. We truly appreciate you for joining us, and we hope to do this, sometime soon. Please, let's stay united throughout the course of this protest. Let's, avoid any divisive rhetorics from party, from tribe, from religion.